Greg, before we go into the start of the show, if you could give us a formal introduction of who you are and what you do with Epiphan Video.
Sure. So I'm Greg Quirk. I'm a product manager for Epiphan Video. I've been with the company for just over a year now. You guys are probably familiar with Yusufa, and he's one of the other product managers. He focuses on the Pearl Mini and the Pearl 2, and they brought me in to work on some of the new stuff we're working on.
Okay.
So we released live scripts back in February. I was working on that. And then since we released that, we've been working on Pearl Nano, and I'm the product manager for that product.
That's awesome. Do you happen to have a Pearl Nano there with you?
I do. I have my wonderful little Pearl Nano I've been playing around with on my desk.
That's
a great, tiny little device.
That's awesome. This is the product that we're introducing. So Greg, if you could tell us a little bit exactly what is the Pearl Nano and how does it complement the Pearl family?
Sure. So if you're used to, the tagline that we use for Pearls, it's a switching, streaming, and recording box.
Sure.
Well, if you take out the switching portion of it, that's essentially what the Pearl Nano is doing.
Okay.
So just like you do in the Pearl, you can bring in your video feeds, your audio feeds, and you can create a composite video layout. So you can have picture-in-picture or side-by-side or, however you want that to be set up, add your background images, text, and whatnot. And then you can, stream it out from Pearl Nano. You also have an HDMI output of that composite video you've created. But then we've also added an HDMI pass-through. So whatever you have as your HDMI input, you can directly pass that through one of the HDMI ports with very little to no latency. So if someone has a presentation up and they go to the next slide, they don't want to have to wait, 3 seconds until the slides update on the screen. It's that direct pass-through. You can record onto either the SD card on the front, and it also has an M2 drive that you can get access to in the bottom. You'll have to provide your own M2 drive, but you have access to that. And then different to a lot of the other encoders that are out there, you've got that monitor, that screen on the front. So you can actually see what you're outputting on the HDMI output. And then you can get your alerts there. If something's not working, you can do some of the control and configuration from that as well.
Greg, how does this relate in size and comparison to the Pearl Mini or even the Pearl 2? How does it relate to the other family of products?
Yeah, I've actually got a live script unit with me, which is kind of the same form factor as a Pearl Mini.
Okay.
And I've got my Pearl Nano. So you can see that, it is a little bit smaller, which is great. It's a little bit more portable.
Sure.
We tried to set it up so that you could actually get two of them in a single rack unit. So, space-wise, you'd be able to have two side by side. We still have to do some thermal testing to make sure everything's gonna operate. But in terms of size, that's kind of what you're looking at.
Okay.
So it's very compact, very portable, which is great.
So here we're showing the connections on the Nano itself. Greg, if you could walk us through exactly what's included on the hardware box.
On the left-hand side, we've got DC power. We've also got PoE Plus on the Ethernet port, so you can power through either. It's got a USB 3.0 input. For the initial launch, we're going to use that for keyboard and mouse input and hard drive output if you wanted to connect an external hard drive. We aren't going to have USB camera support in the initial version. It will come later, but it won't be in the first version.
Okay.
Then we've got your HDMI output and your HDMI pass-through, as well as your 12G SDI in and HDMI 2.0 in.
Okay.
Again, for the initial release, you can put a 4K signal in and downscale it to 1080 or whatever you need it to be for the resolution. We won't support 4K out in the initial release, but it is going to be coming as part of a license in the future.
Okay.
And then for audio, you've got RCA and line level XLR inputs.
So what makes the Pearl Nano great? I just covered your first bullet, the XLR audio input connections, those professional connections. What else have we got to talk about here?
Yeah, so I mentioned the front screen already, but that's huge, right?
Absolutely.
Being able to see what's going on, being able to get that error information if something's not working, directly without having to look at flashing buttons. That's huge. We've also tried to future-proof it as much as we can. So if you look at some of the systems that are out there, they work great. But if you're trying to do SRT or Dash, that's not in there today. And then, having 4K, we are planning on doing H.265 in the future as well as part of that license, so that people can, get access to, however they want to stream the content out. PoE Plus and the SD card, that's not, a huge thing about Nano specifically.
Sure.
But the thing that we've done is we've actually recessed it a little bit compared to a Pearl Mini.
That's great. And Brett, I gotta tell you, I'm really excited to see the SRT included in this product. I mean, SRT is a feature that was just released in the latest firmware for the Pearl products. And it's already not being forgotten and is going to be included in the new Pearl Nano as well. That's phenomenal. Absolutely. And here we kind of have a bullet by bullet comparison, comparing with the Pearl Nano to the Pearl Mini. A lot of this we talked about already, but obviously the most important feature is that the Pearl Mini would have this switching capability, which is what a person with a multi-camera layout would obviously want to upgrade and step up to.
Yep, 100%. And that's kind of what we looked at is, if you've got multiple inputs that are coming in, I've got, 2 or 3 different cameras or different sources and want to be able to switch between different views, just like we're doing for the show, a Pearl Mini is what you would want for something like that. The Nano doesn't have that switching capability, sure. But if you're looking for something, for a smaller type of application, it's a perfect fit for those types of purposes.
No, absolutely. And to be honest with you, our dealers are running into installs where they're talking to customers looking at a Pearl Mini, and all they need is a simple encoder just to be able to get started in producing their live video. So the Nano does slide in perfectly into that need.